The Black Talk Media Project would like to invite you to become a member of the BTR Community subscription-based social media platform. Okay. BTR Community is a platform that was set up for the listening audience of Black Talk Radio Network, the #1 independent black radio network online. For just $24 per year, your subscription gives you access to an interactive space to share information with like-minded people with your privacy guaranteed. Your subscription will go a long way to help us maintain and improve our current media platforms. It will also help provide a budget so that we can begin the task of establishing localized media centers and radio stations across the United States. The best way to show your support and appreciation for what we do here at Black Talk Radio is to subscribe. Help us to help you be informed. Join btrcommunity.com today.
The views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
Okay, welcome everyone to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave, from L.A., coming to you live from FEMA Region number 6. And today is a Friday. It's a Financial Friday, so we're going to have a live show for you today. And big ups to all of you that are listening to the show. Greatly appreciate you all, and thank you for your support. So bear with us today. My man Tommy is on the board. So Tommy, thank you for taking over, allowing our brother Scotty to take care of some of his obligations to our young people with coaching. So we definitely always need to give back so that our young people can have the right mentors so that they can, learn the life skills that they're going to have to use and energy that they're going to need to use it with going forward. So thank you, Scotty, for being who you are, and my man Tommy for doing what you do. Bro, he's going to be engineering today's show, so looking forward to it. So, but before we get going, let me just say this. Had a busy day today, so I wasn't able to post too much inside of our BTR community, but we'll still get to it because yesterday we didn't go over what was in the news, so we're going to do that today. Big ups to my man Raj. Thank you for posting. My man Raj is I tell you, man, he can almost read my overall. There is a such thing as telepathy. I send messages to this brother all the time. He picks it up. Big ups to Tommy, who posted as also inside of Thando Radio Show's page inside of the BTR community. But let's get started in today's show. But before we do that, just made a quick mistake. What I want all of us to do is think about and really commit to supporting Black Talk Radio Network, because without this network, we won't be able to have these very valuable conversations and the action plans that we have, and from all of the programs that Black Talk Radio Network brings you. you've already deemed them as being very valuable. So what I would ask is that if you would please support the network, because it is a grassroots network, and the only way that it's going to be able to grow is with your participation. So if you would just go to www.blacktalkradionetwork.com, and once you are there, hit the home page, and please, when you hit the home page for you all, I'll tell you right where to go. Check out the podcasts that are there, but most importantly, go to the home page, and please go to the donate, and please donate to this network so that we can continue to move forward in a way, because we're going to really need each other, even more than what we think are we all realize that we're displaced in so many areas, but one of our greatest displacements is that we're not centralized anymore. Before we were much more centralized, and because of that, we have a much better position. So definitely, we need to reconnect. We need to, especially for some of the things that's going to be happening, and it's going to be by force, that we're going to have, a lot of the new awareness of how valuable we all are. But I definitely think that we definitely have to get ahead of that before it becomes out of necessity. And really, we already have that necessity that's here, but a very apparent one is coming. So please donate to Black Talk Radio Network. Give what you can give. And one of the things that Scotty wanted me to say to you all is that there were some people that made a contribution of $24, and they didn't specify what that overall contribution was. We greatly appreciate you giving the contribution, but not sure if you gave that contribution because of you wanted to be a part of the BTR community social media platform, or were you giving it as a donation to Black Talk Radio Network. So in the future, if you could, or if you are one of the individuals that sent $24 donation to the network, please, if you would, just reach out to Scotty to specify, because if you wanted to be inside a BTR community, then Scotty will set you up so that you can do that. Or if you were giving a contribution, or you were making a donation to the radio network for the overall financial sustainability of this network, we greatly appreciate that. And that's what it's going to definitely take for us to continue to move forward and grow, and to actually give to those that we've yet not named. So please, if you would, let Scotty know so that he'll know how to carry that overall donation. So he wanted me to express that to you all. All right, so everyone, once again, if you can, please donate to Black Talk Radio Network. Also, you can support the network by becoming a member inside a BTR community. BTR community is a social media network where you can engage in all of your social media activities, such as on FedBook, which is AKA Facebook, and what you do on tweeting, which is nothing more than AKA telling on people. So you can actually engage in your overall social media activities without being as adversely affected. And what I mean by that, most people think that Facebook is free. It's not. It's caused many of you much as far as, because all of that information can actually be data mined, and actually other people can see what it is, and that there are some people that were looking for promotions and they didn't get it. You want to know why? Your Facebook page. There were some individuals that wanted to get jobs. You know why you didn't get it? Because of Facebook page. So FedBook is not free at all. And one of the things is that our community, and for those of you that engage in Facebook, I understand, if you feel that you need to do that, but I would definitely know that, be aware of what you're actually doing, because one of the things is that FedBook is actually crowdfunding and crowdsourcing you. Your overall information, your membership, your postings, they are all gaining financially from that, while they're not sharing in those revenue streams or that revenue with you at all. They just give you a place to have a feel good. Well, feel good is not always the best thing for us. So please come on over to BTR Community, where your overall identity will never be sold to anyone. So it's a membership, so you don't have to worry about someone looking into your profile or seeing what you're about. They have to become a member to do that. And I doubt that they even know about BTR Community. So you can become a member by making a yearly subscription fee of $24, only $24, and then you can actually go into BTR Community and promote yourself, your business, and the regular social media activities that you would engage in. You could do that there at BTR Community, but in a more holistic way. So go to www.btrcommunity and join up, $24 a year, okay? Also, another thing before we get into today's show, if you would like to acquire real money, you can go to Prosperity Mint. Prosperity Mint is a place that I actually would recommend you buy I highly recommend you buy and acquire your precious metals from Prosperity Mint. Just go to Prosperity Mint's website, and that's PROSPERITY, and then MINT, all one word, ProsperityMint.com. And then once you're there, check out what's in inventory, then email Prosperity Mint at info@ProsperityMint, so that someone can get in contact with you to show you and to give you the proper way of purchasing and acquiring, the proper process of acquiring the precious metals. And I always say that the wage of a king and a queen is gold. That's what a king and a queen is always paid. The wage of a lady and a gentleman, those are the individuals that actually work for and on behalf of the king and the queen, their wage is silver. The wage of a slave, those are the individuals that the king and the queen and the ladies and the gentlemen exploit. Their overall wage is debt. This is why we all get paid in paper. It's a debt instrument. So the wage of a king and a queen is gold. The wage of a lady and a gentleman is silver, and the wage of a slave is debt. So just because you're paid as a slave, most people, everybody I know is paid as a slave because they're a slave to the economic system. But it doesn't mean that you have to save that way. You can save as a king and a queen. You can save as a lady and a gentleman. You don't have to save as a slave. So you want to definitely transfer your overall currency into money. Now you're in a better position. So, and we actually have our precious metals class that we show you how to do that. And if you would like to know more about that, definitely you can reach out to email Prosperity Mint, info@Prosperity Mint, or if you would like to know more about the precious metals class that we have, you can actually reach out to me for that, and you all know how to find me. But I'm going to tell you how. You can email me at wolf6pack1@gmail.com. Wolf like the animal, the number 6, PACK, the number 1 @gmail.com. So that's, one more announcement. Well, we got 2 more announcements real quick before we jump into what's in the news. Also, this June the 15th and 16th is going to be the first RDP, which stands for Real Deal Preppers. It's going to be the first RDP Summit, and we're going to have it here in Dallas. I would implore all of you that are listening to Thando Radio Show and Black Talk Radio Network to come to Dallas for that overall first summit. And in that first summit, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to focus. The first summit is going to be focusing on firearms training and actually getting you certified in the proper, safe way to handle a firearm as a tool. And then we'll also be doing live shooting at a very prestigious gun range. You will actually have a firearm safety class by certified individuals, and we will have that in Dallas, and that's going to be on the Friday, the 15th of June here in Dallas. I will get the Eventbrite invitations or the Eventbrite calendar out to you all so that you can sign up there. I'm not quite sure. I probably will know on Tuesday what the fees are going to be and what they're going to look like. So, but just to give you a heads up, in June is going to be the second week of June, June the 15th and 16th. we're going to have our first RDP Summit. First day will be around firearms and shooting, and you will actually get some live fire in. So that is really, really good. And I think that's really, really important because within our community, we've been given all of the wrong information, and we've actually been taught all of the wrong things when it comes to protecting yourself and firearms and everything else. That's why we have such a great fear of it, because we've been following the doctrine of someone else that we actually serve their agenda. So being able to protect yourself is very, very important, but you have to be able to do it effectively and efficiently, and we're going to show you some safe ways to do that. And for our ladies, our single ladies, and even ladies that are in relationships, you still need to know how to properly use that tool if you're interested in that. And believe me, if you never actually had the opportunity to properly the proper training and having actually going to the range and shooting, once you do it, it will totally change your whole life. You'll have a different appreciation for a lot of different things. One, it will develop a lot of self-awareness of you. It will actually bring a level of discipline to you, and it'll give you an opportunity to learn a skill that if you ever had to rely on, you would be able to do it. If you watch TV and think that you can pick up a firearm and be effective with it, no, instead of you protecting yourself, you're going to be a firearms donor. And you can kind of figure out what I mean by that. You're going to be donating your firearm to somebody else. So once you all come to Dallas, learn how to shoot. That will be the first day, and that will, shooting is a process. You really can't become very, very well at it in the first time, but we can actually introduce it to you, and we can do it in a way that the proper way of introducing it to you, which is very, very important. Then on Saturday, the 16th, what we're going to do is we're going to have a day of seminars and classes, and the classes is going to be about how to prepare. Why preparing is important. Some of the opportunities that are going to be coming up, how to establish collective prudence, financial collective prudence, where we can all come together and look at other business opportunities and develop our own strategies from those opportunities in a collective manner. Also, you'll be able to establish your own satellites of preparedness groups once you go back home, how to do that, why that's important, because believe me, whenever things go awry, you don't want to wait on the first responders. You want to be the first ones to respond to the overall crisis or adversity that's before you, your family, and our overall community. Just think about if we always had our first responders, how things would be so different for us all. So we need to become our own first responders, especially for some of the major events that I anticipate happening. And those of you that listen to Thando Radio Show, you've been able to see that the system is telling you what they're going to do. It's just a matter of time before it's done. So until then, what do? Never scared, always prepared. You prepare for it. So that's going to be the RDP Summit that's coming up in June the 15th and the 16th. So looking forward to that. Now, I just want to tell you that I'm not on the board because I can't see the board. Brother Tom, are you there? Brother Tom, are you there? Okay, that's quite all right. Man.
Peace, Dave. What you need, man? You good?
Peace. Brother Bragg, yes, my Brother Bragg. Brother Bragg, you know what? We just changed the telephone number, so this is what I would want everyone to do. If you want to call into the show, if you want to talk into the show today, because I'm not in my regular spot, I don't have the new number. I'm not quite sure if Tommy was there. But if you want to, if you have a question or comment, just definitely go into the chat room that we're in and just unmute yourself, and I will hear you in queue. So just wanted to do. Brother Bragg, you remember the number? Have you written the new number down? I did, but I don't have it.
I'm still in the old number, Dave. Brother. Honestly speaking, I'm still using the old number, man. I just punch it right through, man.
Yeah, right. So hold on, Brother Bragg. At any time, jump in on today's show as well. I haven't talked to you in a little bit, but meaning to. Brother Bragg, you're going to have to come up to Dallas this June if you can, and bring your dogs. Don't worry about it. I got a place for them.
5 strong, man. We're about 500 pounds deep and 5 strong. 100 deep.
Yeah, that's a pretty good posse. That's a pretty good posse to have. So, well, I guess we're gonna have to do a RDP summit in Chicago, so that you can get away and come on down then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, look, I try not to say sir, because you know when I say sir, slave I remain, and you know I'm not a slave, no doubt.
Oh, without it, no. That is without question.
Acronym for whenever you say sir, you're talking about the sun where the sun never rises, the British. When you say sir, slave I remain. That's what they wanted all the indigenous people to say to them, the Indians. Sir, slave I remain. So whenever you respond to that, man, you say sir, you're saying slave I remain, sir.
And this is from ZDNet. Google Chrome, beware those malicious extensions that record everything you do. And that's pretty much everything. This is why one of the things why you want to be careful about your overall engagement inside of Facebook, tweeting, Twitter, telling, and everything. Everything that you keystroke is actually discoverable, meaning it can be picked up, it can be recorded, and it can be used against you. It is all being set up. And that's why you see some of the propaganda and some of the overall rhetoric that you're seeing in the overall mainstream media with FASTA. It is all a part of the purge of the U.S., and you'll see how that unfolds. But I just don't want you to be adversely affected by it, because you are the target victim of this whole thing. They are going to leave you as the burden bearer of what their system creates. So want you to be well aware of that. Great article Rise posted there. Next one, Rise posted this one earlier this week, and this was from Fortune. This new technology will crack the blockchain like an egg. Quantum computing will introduce a major security risk, like breaking the blockchain and monopolizing all future Bitcoin. So check out that article. Great article there, Rise. Next article, Rise posted this one. This one came from Wonder How To, from Coinbase 101, how to transfer your Bitcoin and Ethereum into a vault for safekeeping. So this is Financial Friday. Let me take a look at this one. And great article. So, and this has a smartphone. And I actually posted the other day. And let me see really quickly. So, yeah, we definitely need to. How do you transfer? And this is the article that Rise had posted from Coinbase 101. How to transfer your Bitcoin and Ethereum into a vault for safekeeping. So there are different ways to do it. One of the ones that I definitely suggest that you use is Exodus.io as being one. And we will go over some of this. There's a great article here. Probably we'll save this one for our crypto day that we'll have. But it's Financial Friday, so we may take a look at that. But you know what? I forgot to say what today's show is going to be about. Okay, today's show on Friday, February the 2nd, 2018, is going to be part 2 of the eclipse. What I want to do is, yesterday was part 1. I want to take a look at financially what the overall eclipse could look like for us, the everyday person. So it's not, believe me, once again, I'm not trying to scare you or any of those things, okay? It's just that if you're scared, it's because you're not prepared. And let me tell you why. And just from my former professions as in my early adulthood, because I'm in my late adult, I guess I am in my late adulthood. That's all right. Well, I guess they say the middle-aged one. So, but in my early adulthood, I was in the military, and many of you know that I was involved in law enforcement. I was a police officer in L.A. So one of the things that was very important is that people, when you don't have an appropriate response to things, they scare you because you're afraid of getting hurt. You're afraid of the great unknown. You don't want to lose. But when you have training or you're prepared for things, then no longer are you hamstrung by those things that scare you, because you will see that your list of your fears get quite smaller. They get very, very small. So generally what happens if you're not prepared is if you're scared, it's because you're not prepared. Because the first thing you start to do is you think about, oh, man, if that happens, what does that mean for me? And you come up with, oh, shoot, I'm in trouble. I wouldn't be able to. So we try to ignore it. No, that's your true inner self telling you, hey, it's going to happen. You need to get ready for it. Here's your chance. But just like everything else that we get in the universal communications, before we were taught how to speak, before we were taught the school language, before we were taught what they call the good English and everything else, before you learn to read and write. And I would like to say, what is that really about? What's proper English? What's proper Spanish? What's proper French? What's proper Portuguese? There is none. If you want to communicate something to someone, it can be even a gesture. And if they got the message, the communication was clear. It was received. So don't let people tell you how you're supposed to think, because if you let people tell you how to think, they're going to really instruct you on how to live. And they're going to tell you how to live in their best interests, ways and means. Your way of life will provide for their means of life. So very, very important that we position ourselves accordingly, and that's what today's show is going to be about with the eclipse. Some things that we're going to just take a hypothetical. We're going to do some sit-sims and hypotheticals about maybe some of the things that you could expect. And if you would like to call in, definitely do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can call in as well. You can use the old number today. I know we're not supposed to do that, but Scotty ain't here. So when Scotty ain't here, the mics will play. So I'm just playing. Scotty be Dave going to be doing that. All right, big brother. But for today, I don't have the number, so this is what we're going to do. Today, give us a call, 866-510-9025.
We got the number, Dave. Dave, we got the number, brother.
Okay, there we go. We don't need to do that. Tommy's there. Tommy, what's the number? I know it's area code 704.
704-802-5056. 704-802-5056.
You know what? I knew the number to 704. It was the 802. I knew the 5056, but I never memorized that part of it. So I definitely got it now. Remember, it's area code 874. Oh, no.
No, 704.
Wait. 704. 704. 802. 5056.
Yes, sir.
One more time, 704-802-5056 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. So forgive me, I'm just a little off. So, all right, so that's what we're going to do for today's show. But let me get back to what's in the news so we can jump into that. And we'll jump into that at the top of the hour. We want to get some of these actual articles that were put out because we didn't do what was in the news yesterday. Next article, my man Rise posted this one from CNBC, which for me it stands for Criminals, Nothing But Criminals. How Bitcoin prices predict the Dow. So check out that article that Rise posted there. Good one. Next one, my man Thomas NYC. Man, that's home. Big ups to Thomas. He had a good article. This company wants to grow AI by using the blockchain. And Thomas' commentary was D-Wave quantum computer already created the blockchain and Bitcoin. And Sophia has her own crypto that allows the AI to reach singularity. So check out that article as well. So, yeah, I've always said that this was the setup. The very same people that created the overall banking institutions are the ones that created the overall cryptocurrency space. And I think that today and now is the time for you to use that leverage before while it's still yielding opportunities, because it is definitely a trap. It is a currency, is not money. So check out that article. Next article, Rise posted this one from The Guardian, how to grow your own food, eat better without costing the earth. Very, very important, because one of the things is that the earth itself has not been properly, the soil has not been properly rehabbed so that it can replenish the nutrients that are taking out in all of the growing periods from everything that grows. And this is why it's known as the Shemitah. Biblically is known as the Shemitah. And it was always instructed after 7 years, every slave owner was supposed to release their debt slaves. So if someone owed you money after 7 years, or owed you or was indebted to you, you were supposed to release them of that obligation, as well as farming. If you were farming the land, you were only supposed to farm the land for 7 years, so that you would not deplete all of the minerals in the actual, to where the soil would be barren and non-producing. This is why you have famines throughout the world. So it was in 7 years you were supposed to release the land. And this was one of the practices known as the Shemitah that was practiced, and this is where they get 7 years of bad luck with bankruptcy. This is where you have, this is where they get that from, because after 7 years you're supposed to be relinquished of that overall situation. So, and there were reasons for that, and if you didn't do it, there were curses for it, and those curses actually caused poverty, famine, war, and economic collapse and destruction. And we've been in those cycles for, almost like clockwork for so long, because we have not been following the overall 7-year rule. So check out that article, and this is so right what Roz posted there with how we need to allow the overall earth to be able to, or the grounds or the farmlands to be able to remineralize their overall, the soil. Or it's just going to be like it's dead water, dead soil. So check out that. Next article, Ross will put this up in CNBC. Bitcoin sell-off, buying opportunity. Check out that article. I definitely think that is the case. Then going into yesterday, one of the articles that I posted, let me go down to where we left off. And this one was from the Natural Blaze. And it says, this one was Natural Blaze. Let me fix this real quick. It says, don't call me mother. Artificial womb grew baby sheep. Humans next. So check out that article. And that was from an article that was posted the 29th. Don't call me mother. Artificial womb grew baby sheep. Humans next. I'm going to tell you, they've been having this technology for a while. And so I don't think that it's new in any form or fashion. It's just that it's new to the everyday person, because they plan on utilizing it and using it for a reason. So check out that article. They make the perfect slaves. Okay, next article. This one comes from, I posted this one from Watch TV. It says, U.S. Congress quietly passed bill to require mandatory national biometrics ID. So check out that article, and it actually was from HR bill was actually introduced in early January from a Virginia Republican, and it was HR, House of Representative Bill 4760. So check out that one for biometric ID. So, and I'm going to tell you, that stuff has already been doing it, but now they're just expanding it. Next article comes from Lying Like a Fox News. Some people commonly call it Fox News, but we call it Lying Like a Fox News. All right, next article comes from them, and it says swine flu, bird flu hits North Korea and South Korea days before the Winter Olympics kick off. Today is the 2nd, so the Winter Olympics start on Sunday. And I would tell you all, watch the Olympics when I mean that period. After the Olympics, anything is possible in this world, financially, geopolitically. Anything could happen after then. So you need to be prepared for that, okay? And you need to be getting ready for that just in case. So, and we're going to help you out with that. So don't worry about it. We're going to do as much as we can. So for those of you that have been listening to Thando Radio Show for a while, we've been talking about the importance of the Olympics. The Olympics, in my opinion, is probably going to be the threshold or the ending threshold to some very unstable times globally. If not, great. If nothing happens, and let me tell you, when you prepare, if nothing happens, what do you lose? You have real money. You have a store of food. You don't lose anything. What happens if you don't prepare and something happens? You have the opportunity to lose everything. Don't gamble. Don't gamble. It's not worth it. So Check out that article. Next article, I got this one from Sputnik News. How everyone and their mother can now uncover Pentagon deep, dark secrets. And you know what? This had a lot to do with the overall workout program. And I put it in the other day. And this one was, I think it was Stavia or Stavia workout app. What happened was, and I love this because this is an asymmetrical way. What some militaries were doing. How much time we got? Okay, we got a couple of minutes. Cool. With some militaries, and I will tell you, in my opinion, Russia, China, Iran, what they were doing, and they were tracking where U.S. Special Forces were in some of their clandestine operations, and what they were doing, smart, asymmetrically. They were looking at where the overall workout apps were being utilized, and where there was a large density of workout apps being utilized. Guess what they realized? That's where Special Forces were operating, because if you know anything about people in the military and in those type of units, they work out all the time. So they were basically, and I say that because of this. This is a great way to start to think asymmetrically. Don't use the obvious. Use something that's unobvious, because what they knew is that those overall units like to work out. So whenever they were in country, what do? How do you find where they are? Oh, cool. Real easy. They work out. So let's, in today's high society and high-tech use, easy. Follow their cell phones. Their cell phones are telling where they are. What apps will they all be using? What do they all like to do? Work out. So this is some of the asymmetrical thinking that we need to start to utilize collectively, individually, collectively, and you as your family going forward, especially in business. You have to have an asymmetrical approach to everything, in my opinion. It just serves you well. So check out that article. Next article says, I got this from the South China Morning Post. Jinping fails to get formal backing from May on Belt and Road plan. And where Thomas Thomas' comment was down there. Okay, cool. So I'll go to that one too. So check that out, and believe me, that's all fluff and buff. For the deal has already been struck. So check out that article. Next article, this one came from Sputnik News. No dollar, no problem. France finds a way to dodge U.S. anti-Iranian sanctions. So Paris and France is getting around the sanctions, because this is what's happening. You're going to see in the future they're going to have sanctions as an act of war. So who do you know that's been doing a lot of sanctions of other countries? So the setup is there. Read between the lines. It's right there. So check out that article. Next one, Rise posted this one. And this is from globalnews.ca. Union outcry as automatics eats up 400 oil sand jobs. And it's just the beginning. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Check out that article, Ross. It's so true. There may not be a lot of jobs in the future, but there will be a lot of work that will need to be done. So how much time we got before we go into? Okay, we got three more minutes. Okay, so next article, Ross posted this from The Time. The Pentagon warned that climate change threatens half of American military installations. Nearly 50% of U.S. military installations across the globe face increased risk of a slew of climate change-related threats. Check out that article, and don't think that's by coincidence at all. Next article, Ross posted this from AP News. Oklahoma quake tied to how deep wastewater is injected. So that's caused some of the instability, and that's from fracking. Next article, Ross posted this one. This one came from Men's Journal. Your chances of a heart attack are higher when you have the flu. So don't get the flu. Oregano oil, wild oregano oil. The best one is wild oregano oil, and just silver daily. Have silver daily into your regimen of nutritional supplements that will definitely help you and to prevent you from getting sick. Next article, Roz posted this one from The Guardian. UK doctor selected the first woman to have 3-person babies. So check out that article. So those were some of the articles. Let me move this down. And then Roz posted on medical news. It's very vitamin D3 could reverse the damage to your heart. Man, vitamin D3 is so important. You have to have vitamin D3, even if you're a melanated person. You need to have vitamin D. So check out that article. So that's what's in the news, and we're getting ready to go to a commercial break. And if you'd like to get in on the conversation, when we come back, we're going to take a look at the eclipse.
Hi,
the area code is 704-802-5056. You're listening to Thando Radio Show. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Platform. BTR Community is a platform that was set up for the listening audience of Black Talk Radio Network, the #1 independent black radio network online. For just $24 per year, your subscription gives you access to an interactive space to share information with like-minded people with your privacy guaranteed. Your subscription will go a long way to help us maintain and improve our current media platforms. It will also help provide a budget so that we can begin the task of establishing localized media centers and radio stations across the United States. The best way to show your support and appreciation for what we do here at Black Talk Radio is to subscribe. Help us to help you be informed. Join btrcommunity.com today.
The views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. If you'd like to get in the conversation, then give us a call. 704-802-5056. 704 is the area code, 802-5056. So jump into the conversation. Would love to hear from you. So we're going to get into part 2 now of yesterday's show. And if you didn't get a chance to call in, just give us a couple of seconds. There's a couple of things I want to read to you, and there's some things I want to point out to you all that I want you to at least have some awareness of, okay? So it was a couple of articles that I had posted, and there was one that I posted that we didn't get to read. I posted this the other day, and we didn't get to read this one. So I want you to, you know what I always say, they tell you before they do it. So check it out. Here it is. This one comes from PBS, okay? And PBS stands for People's Boo. Okay, you know the rest. So PBS, that's what it stands for, People's. Okay, so here we go. This is a family show. All right, so here we go. The article says, Trump says it will be hard to unify the country without a major event. Think about that for a minute. Trump says it will be hard to unify the country without a major event. So in reading between the lines, what does that tell you? That they plan on having a major event because they've been so-called unifying the country for different reasons. They've done it during wartime, depression, and all these other things, major events. So that says that, hey, why should this ever be a conversation? You don't need a major event to unify the overall country. You use major events because remember what Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good crisis go to waste. So you create the chaos that turns into a crisis, and then the people start to come to you to beg for the solution that you just created. So that is a major event. So here's a clear telling sign that there's much more to this conversation and what's being said and what's being publicized. And I'm going to tell you what happens is that once things go awry, then they come back and they say, hey, we've been telling you that things weren't been right, but you weren't listening. Now, since you didn't listen to us before, do we have your attention now that you can't eat? So then now when you can't eat, what do you say? Okay, I'm ready to listen. What's on your mind? When did you say this? Oh, we've been telling that this was coming. There were clear indications. It's just like when the overall economic the overall economic turmoil in 2007, 2008. They came back later on and said there were all these warning signs, and we need to have more regulations so that doesn't happen again, when it was actually a part of a conspiracy agenda for that to happen. So what do people do? They buy into the propaganda, and they say, okay, well, whatever you need, just make the pain stop. So here's Trump saying, and this is from a PBS article. We're going to check this out real quick, and then we're going to get into the eclipse. Hours before his first State of the Union address, Donald Trump said Tuesday that he wanted to unify the country and hoped that he could do so without a traumatic event affecting Americans. Come on, y'all. What they tell you everything. I know it's Super Bowl weekend and all of that other distraction stuff. I know I heard that the housewives or this and that is really, really good. I know love and hip hop of Detroit and of what else they got? Miami and all these other. I know those are real interesting. I know what's the lady Washington. I guess that their overall the show is going off. I know that's going to just crush some people. See, we are paying attention to all the wrong things. All the wrong things. And we always remember what the Rothschilds said. When you don't pay attention to different things that the system puts in front of you as an obstacle, then you will become the burden bearers of that overall objective, what their goals are. You'll be the mule. At some point in time, the mule has got to stop getting kicked. So it goes on. Trump spoke about creating a more united country during a lunch with a number of television news anchors. Trump said the United States has long been divided, including during the impeachment of former President Clinton. You see what's happening there? They're setting everything up. What stops the overall impeachment? War. Trump also said that Americans usually come together during times of suffering. Y'all, how much? See, it's not me. I'm not telling you. I'm just bringing you the different things for you to think for yourself. So what is this saying? The system has a plan for you. It's about to bring the pain. It's about to get you more unified because they think that all people are equally worthless. You're all slaves. It's not just you that say, sir. They teach everyone to say, sir. As Brother Bragg says, slave I remain. So it goes on. And then I'm going to jump into, I would love to be able to bring back our country into a great form of unity, Trump said, without a major event where people will pull together. That's hard to do, but I would like to do it without that major event because usually that major event is not a good thing. So when people start talking to you and ostracizing you and saying you weird, you different because you prepare, wait until something hits them and then they're going to be like, oh, shoot, I should have prepared. Now I know why you prepared. This is why we prepare, because the system always tells you before they do it. Once again, I would love to be able to bring the country back into a great form of unity. This is what Trump said. Without a major event where people pull together. Without a major event where people pull together. That's hard to do, but I would like to do it without that major event because usually that major event is not a good thing. And I want you to remember something that 100 years ago, it was easier to control 1 million people than it was to kill 1 million people. But now it's infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control them. These are the type of events that they're talking about. So you need to be prepared, because they're telling you what they're going to do. So often, these are actual clues and actual hints and actual messages that are being delivered to individuals like the minions that carry out the overall orders, what they're supposed to be doing and where they are, so that when they do get in different settings, they know what the agenda is. So I just hope that we don't have that type of scenario. Well, it is here. It's pretty much here. But let me finish the article real quick. It's a short one. The president also stated that the country's divisions dates back to both the Republican and Democratic administrations, citing the scandals that led to the Clintons' impeachment in 1998. That was not a bad or adverse thing for the general population. And then it goes on. I wanted to see our country united. I want to bring our country back from a tremendous divisiveness, which has taken place just over 1 year, over many years, not just over 1 year, but over many years, including the Bush years, not just the Obama era, he said. Trump went on to say that the unity of the people also is going to be hard because of issues like health care, because some people want free health care paid by the government, and others want health care paid for by private, where there's great competition. So this was what was said. So let me give you my overall estimations, and this is by PBS. So you can go to PBS and put in Donald Trump said it would be hard to unify a country without a major event. So let me give you a couple of hypothetical situations that I think that this will actually be likely. And I want you to think about it. So look at the overall general climate. Now, I'm going to say these are hypothetical situations. This does not mean it's going to happen this way. I'm not in on the overall clandestine meetings. They don't ask me to participate in it. So I don't know what's going to happen. But from what I see is going to happen from some of the overall the directions that things are going, the current events that we're seeing, is that you can definitely bet that there's going to be some economic disruptor. And I think that economic disruptor is going to be by way of a cyber attack. And in today's world, it's already been stated, we posted here inside of Thando Radio Show before, where celebrity figurehead Donald Trump, because that's all he is, he's a celebrity figurehead. I know all of y'all loved Obama as well, but he was a celebrity figurehead too. Anybody that stands in front of a camera is an actor, and actors are professional liars. Just really think about that. So remember what celebrity figurehead President Trump said, that if there is a cyber attack of a significant national interest that affects the nation, then that would be an act of war that would have a nuclear response to it. So think about the turmoil that the current geopolitical turmoil with Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia. The U.S. is tied in right now. Huge. All of them have large cyber opportunities. Also the U.S. and Israel in their overall fight for the strategical grounds of Syria, not just the biblical implications of Syria, but the actual natural resource significance of Syria. They're all fighting for that. Now, what can happen, and it's been done before, look up real quick. Stuxnet. I'm glad I didn't get that. Stuxnet virus. That the attack. The overall cyber capability. Imagine your ATM, your credit card was not working, but it wasn't just yours. All of the ATM machines and terminals weren't working. How many people would be in a position of pure panic? And that is the most effective and efficient way. And when that happens, especially here in the States, where we're so dependent upon the grid, the electrical grid, and if that grid goes down, you would have, and I know, I actually been through riots. I know how riots happen and how people act in riots. You would have within 12 hours complete chaos pretty much everywhere. Even in the areas, let's say one part of the country was affected, but the other part of the country wasn't. The rest of part of the country will be affected because they would start to hear that the banks and everything else is going to say we need to shut everything down. And what is that going to cause people to do? To panic. Most people only have 3 days or 4 days worth of food in their homes. They are going to panic. Panic is like Black Friday on steroids. Imagine when you have to fight for something that you really do need. But before we were fighting over consumer goods, it's going to be brutal. And the system has developed that codependency for you to have that dependency on the system. This is why they got rid of cash. This is the true meaning of the cryptocurrency space. It's a cashless society. Because in a cashless society, you can't engage in a transaction, a medium of exchange under the books. You can't exchange cash. You're going to have to go into what? The internet and use the so-called decentralized cryptocurrencies on a centralized platform. Come on, y'all. Centralized mean they know. So the system will always be able to tax you, know everything that you did. You won't be able to be paid under the table or have a transaction that will not be dutifully recorded by the income tax bearer, state, and everything else. So they put you on that grid. Now, how do you control people from there? Here's how you do it. You get everyone so dependent in getting used to using their digital currency known as your ATM card and your credit card. So now what do? You don't use cash as much. So what happens to the cash? It is not in circulation as much. And when cash isn't in circulation, guess what happens? It loses its confidence. It loses purchasing power. So now you replace everything. How many places have you gone in today's world where you see that they don't accept cash? You'll see no cash on trucks. You'll see no cash on here, not knowing what that subliminal message is. That subliminal message is this, is that you will not be able to have any form of transactions outside of taxation. It's all a setup. The system has never, ever given you anything that you needed. It has always given you what they wanted you, what they deemed necessary to take from you. Take your energy. So, let me get to what I can see happening. In a major cyber attack, you can cripple a country such as the United States almost overnight. Because you'll bring pandemonium and chaos within its borders. They won't be able to respond. I don't know if you guys remember there was when Atlanta got some snow a couple of years ago, it shut the whole city down. Imagine if the ATMs went down. Everybody would be out on the streets. Guess what happened in a major cyber attack? The U.S. wouldn't even have an appropriate military response because guess why? All of their systems run off of the Internet. Yes, some of them are protected, but this is what would be bad for you. There is no first responding units in this country that do not use the Internet. You would have massive chaos. The traffic lights would stop working. People would be out on the street running to the supermarkets and everywhere, and it'd be crazy. But you, if you're prepared and you're wise, you let them go off and do that. You don't want to be out in that chaos. Because you really think about it, you're not going to be able to carry anything more than what you can actually lift, put in the backpack and carry. Most people in the United States are out of shape. They can't walk 1 mile or 2 miles from the grocery store to get the food home. So I want you to really think about it. So what I want to do real quick, how much time we got? Man, time goes by. A hypothetical. I want you to think about what would happen if there was a major cyber attack on one bank. One bank. This would be the domino effect, and they've actually did this. You all remember when we covered it when they didn't take SNAP. They wouldn't take government assistance cards, and they shut those down just immediately, and the chaos that had happened. That was a dry run, and this happened 2 years ago. In 2014, they did that. A couple of times in 2014. Those of you that listen to Thando Radio Show, you remember that. We covered that. So that was a dry run for something to happen in the future. So all of a sudden, there's a major cyber attack at a major bank. You know what the rest of the banks are going to have to do? Because I don't know if you're aware that all of the banks are under the same charter. They're just franchises. And they're all interconnected. So if one major bank has a cyber attack, all of the rest are going to get the alert of a cyber attack, and guess what they're going to do? Shut down. Now, just think about it. If you wanted to actually steal all of the currency or all of the obligations that you have to people, what would the best thing for you to do is to control the overall system that could give you plausible deniability to shut it down and say somebody else did it.
Go through here. So I have to put this through the screen.
We have a little background noise. So hold on 1 second. So I want you to think about if a major bank was hit with a cyber attack, it would cause all of the other banks to shut down. But what would a cyber attack really give the overall banking institutions the opportunity to do? It would give them the opportunity to erase all of their liabilities. Gives them the opportunity to clear their books because actually they've already stolen their obligations to pay you via your pensions, Social Security, all of the things that will come into play, austerity measures, which we don't know about. Austerity measures means that you paid for something and you no longer get that service. There is no more unemployment, but they've been taking that out of your overall wages forever. Oh, you don't get. You would know what austerity measures are then. It'd be a new word. Off who? Australia? I thought that was that. No, austerity measures. So they already stolen everything. So now they need the overall event to give them the clean getaway. Best way to rob a bank is to own it.
Brother Dave.
So they hit with this cyber attack. I'm going to go to the caller in 1 sec. Okay. You get hit with this cyber attack. That will cause other banks. And that cyber attack could come from, they could say that North Korea did it when North Korea didn't do it. They could say that Iran did it when Iran didn't do it. They could say China and Russia did it. Please watch the background noise real quick. I'm going to go to you real quick. So if you just mute yourself. And they could have all these excuses about who did it, but it would really be about who's going to benefit from it. And the key is you have to know that those possibilities are more than real. They've been telling you they're going to do it. So when are we going to start to believe them? When are we going to start to believe them? So before we get further into it, I don't like to keep the callers waiting. There's a caller in queue. Welcome, caller, to Thando Radio Show. What's your name and where you're calling from, and what is your question or comment?
Hey, peace, Brother Dave. This is Roz. How you doing?
Roz, what's happening, brother?
Hey, nothing, man. I was just thinking about what you were saying because I had talked about this on a few occasions, Jenna and I both. Just the fact that this whole transition to the crypto space is just a way to create a mass die-off. You're going to have people starving and homeless, all of that stuff, just because they don't have access to that crypto and you can't use cash. Now, the real interesting part about it is that what Jen and I both have been finding is that dealing with the cryptocurrency space, that things are tightening up on Americans joining exchanges. A lot of these exchanges are overseas, and because the value of the dollar is dropping, and we talked about this before when we dealt with Kraken and stuff, just the security measures that they put U.S. citizens through. And when you hear about citizens from other countries, they only have like 2 steps, maybe 3 at the most. We have to go through 4 steps, maybe 5, 6 steps before they even allow you to enter the exchange. And him and I both find that they're tightening up on allowing U.S. citizens access to this stuff. So again, this is all preparation for the mass die-off. And also made me think, there was an article I posted on BTR like a while ago. This is from January 15th, and it said hospital running on pen and paper after being hit with ransomware attack. And I just want to read a brief.
Right, I remember you posted that one.
Yeah, I just want to read a brief section of it because it said another U.S. hospital has become victim of a ransomware attack. An unknown party managed to infect the systems of Hancock Regional Hospital in the state of Indiana last week, demanding an unspecified number of bitcoins to release the unlocked key. When the attack took place on January 11th, it affected the medical center's email, electronic health records, and other internal operating systems. The hospital stresses that no patient records were removed from its network and patient care has not been significantly impacted. The institution shut down some systems to prevent further infection and contacted the FBI and the National IT Security Company. As of Saturday morning, these systems were still down, and it continued to use pen and paper to keep patients' medical charts updated. Now, this kind of made me think of just how they, like you said, the transition started with this. I would just say it was psychosocial conditioning through employment, when at one point you had a choice of either having them electronically pay you to your bank account, send you the funds that way, or they could cut you a physical check. I used to always ask to have a physical check cut. Then it got to the point where they basically said, no, there's no such thing as a physical check. If you don't have a bank account, you're not getting paid. So it just forces everybody to go into this one form of thinking, this one form of doing things. And then when something goes wrong, there is no old way to go back to. So to see that the hospital had to go back to using pen and paper, which is simple, it's much less chance of things being doctored and switched and lost and destroyed unless it's physically destroyed, then to me it just says that these are things that we should think about. You know, just something simple as taking all the phone numbers in your cell phone and writing them down in an actual phone book. Just something like that. If something happens to your phone, you're going to lose all the numbers of importance, or just memorize them. If they're super important numbers, try and memorize them. If you can't memorize them, have them written down in a physical location. So if something does happen to your phone, that you have them in a physical form that you can go back to and refer to once you get a new phone or whatever the case may be. So just that concept of looking at some of the old ways of doing things and old technologies we can use in place of certain systems in case they do pull the switch on something. I just think that's something we should start researching collectively and exposing that information to each other. So that's it. Great show, brother. Yeah, and thanks again, and I'll mute my line.
Yeah, well said, Roz. And what Roz was talking about in the crypto space, where like cracking was hard to get into, this is what's known as capital controls. This is known as capital controls, and this is done from FACTA, okay? And what they're doing is that the U.S. is realizing that the rest of the world is cutting them out. So what are they going to do? They're going to leave that burden of the people that's going to be paying for the mass exodus of the capital from the global population, that burden is going to be put on the everyday citizen, meaning this. They don't want any U.S. citizens having any accounts outside of the United States. They want you to be buying the U.S. debt because you're the buyer of last resort. These are known as capital controls. This is why it's difficult to have an account in any foreign country. And a lot of these foreign exchanges are saying, you know what, we do not want to deal with the overall compliance and the factor in the NYCs, not in KYCs, the know your customers and all of their compliance is just not worth it to us. So you know what they say? Kick the U.S. citizens out. When they say kick the U.S. citizens out, first they kick the people out, then they're going to kick the dollar out. And then the dollar is going to follow the overall people. And this is going to be make it almost virtually impossible for you, if you don't have the right relationships outside of the U.S., for you to even have the ability to have a foreign account. And if you do, the overall taxation of that account is going to be great. But it's not just the Swiss bank accounts and things of that nature. No. This is much bigger than that. That means how are the overall produce producers or the essential assets that are needed, such as food, how are they going to be purchased in foreign countries when you here will need those products? Or actually, next time you go to the grocery store, look at how much product comes from somewhere outside of the U.S. Your fruits and vegetables, 90% of it's coming from Mexico. A large percent of it. If you can't have an account in Mexico, how are you going to be able to pay them for the overall produce? Means what? You're going to have food deserts all over the country. It's all systematic, it's all asymmetrical, and it's all a methodical setup. These are the indications that you should be getting prepared. Huge. It's huge. And Rise, big ups to you. Yes, I remember that article, and as he said, when they had to go back to using pen and paper, how many of us know how to do anything other than use the overall smartphones for dumb people that are in our hands? We don't. We've lost our overall abilities and our technical knowledge of different things. So, listen, got to get ready to go to a commercial break. I think we got another caller in queue. We'll go back to you. You're listening to Thando Radio Show. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Media Project would like to invite you to become a member of the BTR Community subscription-based social media platform. BTR Community is a platform that was set up for the listening audience of Black Talk Radio Network, the #1 independent black radio network online. For just $24 per year, your subscription gives you access to an interactive space to share information with like-minded people with your privacy guaranteed. Your subscription will go a long way to help us maintain and improve our current media platforms. It will also help provide a budget so that we can begin the task of establishing localized media centers and radio stations across the United States. The best way to show your support and appreciation for what we do here at Black Talk Radio is to subscribe. Help us to help you be informed. Join btrcommunity.com today.
The views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave, from L.A. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 704-802-5056. I got it down now. I won't forget it, 704-802-5056. if you'd like to get in on the conversation. I think we have another caller in queue. Welcome, caller, to Thando Radio Show. What is your name, where you're calling from, and what is your question or comment?
Hey, Dave, this is Rob from Atlanta.
Big Rob, what's up, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, I'm good, man. I just wanted to piggyback on what you was talking about with those accounts. You know, I'm still an active Forex trader. And
yes,
when I was trying to make a deposit into a foreign account, and not only did they send that money to that account, right? They sent that money to account and let me trade on it. And in the middle of a trade, they disabled my account, sent my whole deposit back, plus an additional deposit from last deposit. I thought that was really strange because they still giving me a hard time about me dealing with this specific broker that's outside of America, and I just wanted to share that with you. And they make it so hard, so difficult to be able to make transactions outside of the United States now. I mean, it's more and more, getting more and more difficult. So that's a telltale of the signs to me. I just wanted to piggyback on that. And I'll mute my line.
Yeah,
thanks, Dave.
Well said, I mean, and that's an example of the overall collapse. Because think about it. How are your overall suppliers going to be able to get product to you, the consumer, if they can't deal in foreign banking, where the foreign banks say, see, what they first start off, they start off with the individual person, then they go to the overall companies. And when they go that far, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Your overall currency goes to a hyperinflation where your dollar, you're going to, for one pack of gum, it's going to cost you $25 for a pack of gum. But you're not going to get paid anymore. But your purchasing power of your dollar is completely lost because all of the debt is a debt default. All of the countries are going to lose confidence in your dollar and say, no, we don't want to do banking. And when they say they don't want to do banking with you anymore, that means that they don't want your currency anymore. Don't need to do it. Take it back. And this is going to catch a lot of our people off guard. These capital controls are real. They're starting to expand. And it doesn't matter what we think. No, that's not going to happen. Yes, it is. Because it's already happening. You just haven't been told. I know it's not on your favorite shows. They're not talking about it there. It's amazing. They may not have put it in a lot of different movies. I don't know how many times so many of us get educated by movies. And we get the worst kind of education. Well, no, excuse me. We get schooled by movies. We don't get an education at all. We get schooled. There is, it's a huge difference between an education and schooling. So, yeah, Rob, it's definitely going to happen, and it's unfolding as we speak. So, great point. Now, let me give you, real quick, in our last half hour, if you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 704-802-5056, 704-802-5056. So, I think we got another caller in queue. Welcome, caller, to Thando Radio Show. What is your name, where you're calling from, and what is your question or comment?
Peace, Dave. This is just me, man.
Go ahead, my brother.
You got me into this money, man. So y'all kicking it about this money. Let me just drop a few jewels on you, man. Just some things that I thought are relevant. Check this out. The First National Bank of the United States, Bank of North America, formed by the Act of Congress of the Continental Congress, who also owned and controlled it instead of it being privately controlled. That was 1781. 1789, Constitution of the United States ratified. 1791, Assumption Act. 1791 allowed newly chartered Bank of the United States, or more commonly today, the First Bank of America, to assume private control of state-chartered banks. 1792, the Coinage Act of 1792 defined the dollar as a unit of measure in either gold or silver note. In 1965, certainly after the U.S. bankruptcy, then President Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965, which for the first time altered the replacement, the Coinage Act of 1792, therein removing any definition of what constitutes a dollar today. Federal Reserve notes are not dollars, even though it's stated on its face, as a Federal Reserve Bank has stated. A Federal Reserve note is just a piece of paper. Also, a 1969 court case, Credit River in Minnesota, said the Federal Reserve notes are not lawful money within the contemplation of the Constitution of the United States and are null and void. Further, the notes on their face are not redeemable in gold or silver coin, nor is there a fund set aside anywhere for redemption of said notes. President Andrew Jackson vetoed renewal of the charter for the Second Bank of the United States. 2 subsequent assassinations attempted on his life proved unsuccessful. 1871, the federal government formed itself into a D.C. corporation, and it adopted under a U.S. Constitution. Let me reiterate that. 1871, the federal government formed itself into a D.C. corporation and adopted itself under the U.S. Constitution. 1907, federal panic provoked by J.P. Morgan to bring about total change in private control of the central banks and monetary system. 1910, Basic Plan for Federal Reserve Act drafted at a secret meeting held at the private resort of J.P. Morgan on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. 1913, April 8th, 17th Amendment ratified, allowed power reserved to the United States to be passed into the hands of a new form of federalism, a new form of government, placing the State of the Union in the position of mere supervised units of such government. This act set the stage for the complete change by the federal government from a constitutionally guaranteed Republican form to a democracy, and set the stage for a hostile corporate takeover of the U.S. monetary system and to place control of it in private hands. 1913, December 22nd, 23rd, Federal Reserve Act, creating Federal Reserve, private corporation and not a federal agency. Central bank signed into law by Woodrow Wilson, to which later years quoted, "I have unwittingly ruined my country." 1915, May 7, USS Lusitania, an ocean liner with American passengers aboard, was sunk by German U-boat commanded by Captain Walker Schwieger off the coast of Ireland in the English Channel. Just before the tragedy, the Lusitania reportedly carried over 6 million rounds of ammunition owned by J.P. Morgan. The company stopped its traditional zigzag pattern to cut its speed in half to await an escort vessel, the HMS Juno, which to lead to the port, unbeknownst to Lusitania, and for reasons which have never been satisfactorily explained. The First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill, ordered the Juno to return to the port of Queenstown, while the Lusitania sat alone and unprotected in the English Channel waiting for its escort. One torpedo was fired, and within 18 minutes, 1,198 passengers, including 128 Americans, perished. It is speculated that Churchill deliberately sacrificed the Lusitania in order to force America into the war. 1917, the United States officially declares war on Axis power. This is where it gets good. 1919, June 28th, League of Nations signed without United States participation until more than 20 years later, when this was repackaged as the United Nations. 1920, financial panic engineered the Fed, proving it could manipulate economies of nations at will without war. 1921, Shepard-Towner Maternity Act, known as the Maternity Act, created the birth registration, or what is now known as the birth certificate. 1921, Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, formed because of the United States refusal to join the League of Nations following World War I, an outgrowth of secret society formed by Cecil Rhodes and backed by Rockefeller and Carnegie Foundation money. CFR's agenda envisioned nothing less than world domination and establishment of a more feudalist society feudalist society controlled by themselves through the World Central Bank. Bretton Woods agreements with 16 nations declared bankruptcy. The Geneva Convention Treaty declared that the national bankruptcy treaties were superior to all federal law and the United States Constitution. I'm just going to finish up right here. March 9th, the United States Corporation went bankrupt. It was declared so by Roosevelt by Executive Order 6073, 6102, 6111, 6260, Senate report. Illegally ordered to be turned in by 1965. Civil was moved after Kennedy was assassinated by the federal government and international bankers. Today, continental money of exchange does not circulate. Your energy, faith, and spirit was and is pledged to the state due to the existing national emergency. More likely, 1933, more likely you were not a gem in your daddy's eye, but your daddy was made a debtor. His property pledged to the state. His titles changed to certificates of title or deeds, and he was soon departed of his constitutional money to pay his debts at law. And I'm done. Federal United States joined the International Interpol, designating U.S. Attorney General as the official representative of the organization. The Secretary of the Treasury designated by the U.S. Attorney General as the representative of Interpol. 1958. Representatives of Interpol must, pursuant to Article 30 to the Constitution and General Regulation of Interpol 22 USC 263A renounce their allegiance to their respective countries and expatriate EXPAT RIAT, I can't say it. The World Bank is the agent for the creditors' principles of the United Federal States and is not subject to American law. Bretton Woods Monetary Conference, man, and it goes on to tell you about Trilateral Commission created by David Rockefeller to coordinate North America, United States, Mexico, Japan, Western Europe into a new world order under slogans such as free trade and environmental protection until a full-blown regional government emerged from the process. A so-called trade treaty within the European Union, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, and Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Agreement, APEC, and the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade have little to do with free trade. UNIDIT Treaty number 9719, ratified by the Senate, which makes the U.S. Congress. Listen to this. Let me get this clear. 1980, UNIDO Treaty number 9719, ratified by the Senate, which makes the U.S. Constitution subservient to U.S. World Constitution. That means the United Nations. And that's as far as I'm going to go. Peace, man. I didn't mean to ramble so long. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, Brother Braggs, it was so necessary because all of those things are the things that did happen, and the false flags, and then the setups, and then the overall changing of the monetary standards where they took out money and they put in currency, and then all of that means that the overall general population is defranchised. And let me tell you, they don't care about your race. They equally hate all. They don't understand the overall power of love. They just love power. So they will use any and all for the service, the overall systematic agenda of actually subjugation and enslavement. So, man, Brother Braggs, well said. Always that piece was timeless because these were the events that actually are having the same effect based off of the results that were needed for the system to maintain its overall dominance in its predatorial position. So, listen, everyone, we got to get ready to get out of here.
Hey,
man,
Dave,
time flies. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Bragg.
We're still on a banker's holiday because we're still under War Powers Act. We're still on the banker's holiday.
Exactly.
So all those rules are still in effect. I just want to make people aware the game is still running and it's running hard.
Hey, Brother Dave.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Your board is real hot. You got Brother Mel, Brother Thomas, and you got a caller out of area code 206.
Okay, let's take those. Okay, cool. Let's take them because I can't see the board, Tommy. So just call the brothers out from there because you can see where they came in. So let's go to those.
Brother Thomas,
the callers. I don't want to. I'm glad you told me because I can't see it.
Brother Thomas.
Can be heard?
Yeah, go ahead, Tommy. Thanks, Mario.
Thomas.
Oh, this is Thomas. Go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to qualify. First, I wanted to qualify what Brother Bragg just said. The United States and General Congress Assembled was the original name of this nation state or country, and it had several black presidents serving 6 month terms each.
Yeah, sure did.
Right next to my new job is the United Nations, and it was funded by the Rockefeller family, just to let you know. And it was built on and still resides in a section of Manhattan the Rockefeller family owns, called Turtle Bay, which is the original name of Manhattan. You read an article earlier about people on fitness sites and they could communicate. I remember when they had the terrorist attack in Europe. I forget if it was France or England, but they claimed that the terrorist was communicating on the PlayStation network. So you're thinking they're playing games, but they were able to communicate.
It was in Paris, right, Thomas.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I use that as like one of the things that maybe we can use if we're ever trying to plan something and we don't want it to be known. That Sony protects the right to those that information. You mentioned Rahm Emanuel earlier. It's been alleged he's Obama's butt buddy, but he's an Israeli citizen and a Mossad agent. He was elected as mayor of Chicago. And you also mentioned Zbigniew Brzezinski, Obama's college professor.
and mentor. And his
at
daughter,
Occidental.
And his daughter Mika was just caught cheating. She had to divorce her husband, but she married her co-host on that MSNBC show, Michael Wolf, that one that comes on in the morning soup or something like that. But Morning Joe, yeah. But just to let you know that these people on the news are all compromised, and it's a doctor show. To what Rob says, it's a doctor show that my wife watches, and one episode they hijacked the hospital computers, and they wanted 20 or 30 million in Bitcoin, and it was just thinking they can't hijack the computers of a hospital very. I'm not saying easily, but if it can be done, it'll be easy to get money because that information is protected by HIPAA, and if you give that out. And the last thing I wanted to say, I know I'm taking a lot of time here, but I don't think war would be. I don't think war would be a unifier under Trump because they'll say he caused it. So I think they'll be planning for a devastating terrorist attack, sort of like 9/11, or maybe a planned staged attack like from another country, like you were saying with Hawaii. And I just wonder now. I was watching a documentary. And I think if they crash the grid, it'll crash the entire world's grid because it's all connected. And in fact, Amazon provides 80% of the world's cloud. Cloud servers are all in the United States that they have. Russia and China buy cloud space from Amazon. So I don't think that would be a viable idea. But if they can crash the grid here, would it be possible that U.S. could crash their grid and, and of course Israel because they're the best,
right. And
what would happen if China's grid crashed by the U.S.? What do you think the response would be? And that's what my question for you. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that would be the overall play. They said that they were hit by this country in this cyber attack, and then they would respond dutifully from that. And then that's where the rest of the world would say, oh, the U.S. is knocking out people's grid, so we need to go to war against them. So this was where the U.S. would have no allies, and the world would be turning against them like they did in Germany. So they follow the same script because it works. I definitely can see that happening. So great points. Thomas, we got a couple other people before we get out of here. Mario, if you could, or
area code,
who's next? I'm not quite sure if that was Mario or Brother Tommy.
Area code 206. Area code 206.
It's good, man. It's Hassan.
Hey, Hassan, go ahead, brother. We got like 3. And then we got the other person to get to. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, real quick. I wanted to some of the things that dude said. Well, no, let me get my question out the way. Was that the synagogue of Satan that Brother Braggs was reading at him? Yes, no.
I'm not. Brother Braggs didn't.
That was part of my research on money, man. That was my research on money. That's.
Okay.
You check the dates. You check the dates. You can find the information. That's why I gave the dates and the names. You can Google it. You can find everything I gave you.
Okay.
Yeah, listen to the podcast and you can hear all of that. All of that stuff is there. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Hassan.
And that was actually my question, but I wanted to address what dude was talking about. Those 8 presidents, I think he said 6, but I believe it was 8. Those presidents that were before were the black presidents. That's the real American government. That's the true United States, not the corporation that's formed that we have today, which is dormant. And without going all the way into it, if you look on the dollar bill, the seal is on there. That pyramid seal is ours. That ain't nothing crazy. No matter what you hear, none of that shit. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Right.
And that's that. He touched on a few things that actually, but I know I can't go into them right now, so I'll just go ahead and let the next cat get on there. And I'm gonna call you. Brother.
Okay, yeah, hit me up this weekend. Okay, Tommy, go ahead. Let's go to the next one.
Brother Mel.
Peace.
Peace. Is this Brother Mel or is this Brother
this Mel.
Marcus?
Yeah.
Oh, this Mel tonight. Okay, what's up, Brother Mel? Go ahead.
Brother Scott on the line tonight?
Who's that?
Brother Scotty ain't on the line?
No, Scotty is coaching his basketball team, taking them to the championship.
Okay, cool. Well, I wanted to let him know, and it's to the archives. I just sent my support to him. Shame on me for going all these years without supporting that brother. And I did that, and I'm going to do it again and again. And then check your PayPal as well. So, yeah.
Man,
that's all I want to say.
Man, Mel, my peeps, man. Mel, you coming up for RDP? You ain't got no choice.
Well,
so.
have to. She
all right. Don't make me call you at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I'm coming. Don't hang up on me. I'm coming. And he laughing because that's what Mel did to me the last time. Mel called me at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, yo, man, what you doing? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What you think? Yo, I'm coming. Don't you hang up on me. Yo, where you at? Let me what? Yo, man, I love Mel.
You'll argue about that. But, yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, my brother. Much love, much respect. Peace. Brother Tommy, anybody else on the board?
No. You good.
Let me just say this. I just want to say, Brother Tommy, thank you for being the chief engineer of Thando Radio Show tonight. Much love, much respect. And at first I said, man, is that time? Because I'm not in my usual place, and the reception is not as good. So I couldn't. I said, is that Mario or Tommy? And I said, no, that's Tommy. So, man, brother, I can't wait to see you as well. Coming up soon, and everyone. Hey, Tommy, tell everybody where to find you on Monday nights, man.
Yeah, we're here, Melanated Roots, Monday evening from 8 to 10 every Monday. But let me say something, Brother Dave. It's really been my pleasure because really to listen to the information that you presented and your perspective on that information. And, you know, I learned a lot, and it was a really good show, really informational, really crucial information people really need to know, brother. So I'm in appreciation, brother.
Man, you know who you are to me. Big ups. Give my regards to the family and your father and brother. Tell them I said what's up. And you know what, Tommy, as you know, just the callers, Brother Bragg, Raj, Thomas, Mel, Hassan, all of the callers that call in, they always, bring the fire with it. And so that's what's really essential. And you as well, Tommy, you all got to catch Melanated Roots, and the Brother Tommy and him and he, I call him Mario, but he has his own words for his homie. Those are good people, and looking forward to building with those brothers going forward. So listen, everyone, it's never goodbye. As always, we'll see you later. And before you ask for a fortune, make sure to give one away. Brother Braggs, if you would be so kind to chime us out, I would greatly appreciate it. Much love, much respect. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
The Black Talk Media Project would like to invite you to become a member of the BTR Community subscription-based social media platform. BTR Community is a platform that was set up for the listening audience of Black Talk Radio Network, the #1 independent black radio network online. For just $24 per year, your subscription gives you access to an interactive space to share information with like-minded people with your privacy guaranteed. Your subscription will go a long way to help us maintain and improve our current media platforms. It will also help provide a budget so that we can begin the task of establishing localized media centers and radio stations across the United States. The best way to show your support and appreciation for what we do here at Black Talk Radio is to subscribe. Help us to help you be informed. Join btrcommunity.com today.
The views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Dino dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs. Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.